I want to ask Marty why, what it felt like to conduct this extraordinary piece of music and see the movement, because you had the best seat in the house.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a nice benefit of that.
What is that like to conduct the music, something that you've probably heard dozens of times over the years, and then work the musicians, and then also see the dancers? I'm really curious.
Well, it's really interesting for me, of course, because I am so much in the music, trying to teach the students, the how it all fits together and how to teach the individual parts. I think I mentioned to Sarah, I see Sarah standing over there on the side. Sarah's been great to write articles for us leading up to this for our student newspaper here. And I mentioned to Sarah that if it can be overwhelming to be in the moment before you go out to conduct a piece of that length, 30 minutes or so in length. And so I end up just trying to see the trees instead of the forest, because it can be overwhelming for you. But it's really interesting to see an interpretation come to life on stage. And I think probably one of the really truly interesting things about what we're doing is I don't know of another activity like this happening now in the United States. To sit here this close to the stage and see, it really strikes me the physical endurance of the people that are on stage, for one thing, because I'm right here with them. Perhaps all you see in the audience is the beautiful movement and the smile, but I see the effort.
And I know the dancers got a lot out of watching the musicians, and they don't often get that chance. Looking down here on them and seeing the person with the instrument, and I've heard several student dancers say, God, they're working hard too.
Now, Chris, from your end and the students, since your component was designed and then created before the performance, and they are moving, but you aren't specifically performing yourselves, how does that sort of feel or seem, or creating them? How does that?
For me, one of the greatest moments was when they were still sort of in construction, and a bunch of the dancers came to visit, and they kind of came in and were like in awe, how big they were at first, and then we're just kind of like, can we climb up on them? And it was like, well, yeah, And when they got up on top, just seeing the big smiles that came on their faces were so fantastic. And just seeing them up here is really cool. We don't often get an opportunity to do that, and it's really nice.
I thought it was great to see, we made these, and we knew that people were going to be on them, but we weren't sure what they were going to be doing. I didn't realize people were going to be literally hanging on the front, and that was one of my favorite things, to see them interact and pick up the curtains on the front of them with their feet, and I just thought that was really
beautiful. I'd never worked on a stage like this. I've worked with large-scale sculpture before, but nothing that moves around with dancers and dancer safety. But so I was thinking about this thing conceptually, and so I was thinking about, and Marty alluded to this, I was thinking about the time period of the piece in the right before World War I, and I had been studying that actually right before that. And so I started thinking about these kinds of things in the stage and the space of the stage.
like Hillary said, you know, in rehearsal and whatnot, we had the CDs and whatnot, and it was the same for all the pieces, so everything was consistent. And then I remember personally, first time we got to listen and work with the orchestra, how, like for Mars, as an example, first time we did it, they were slower than what the CD was, so we were all looking at each other, nope, sorry, just wait a sec, oh, there it is, and then we come up. So it was really, and then of course, it's easy to work with the sculpture pieces in the rehearsal, but then when we got them on stage, and then you see them come flying out of the curtains, heading right for your line. It's kind of like staring down a bull as it comes on, and you got to hope that it stops before it just careens you over.
I have to tell you, after watching the rehearsals at various times in natural light, the show didn't really come together for me until the lighting project became part of our show. And that was a significant piece of what we were doing. Because, you know, we had discussions about Mars and reds, you know, and the bringer of war, and how each movement had a different color and character to it. And it didn't really gel for me until I started seeing the lighting effects, as well as the various contributions as they came together. But that's what made it spectacular for me, truly. And I don't think I've had a chance to express that openly until now. I mean, this is the first time that we've, you know, since the show started, that we've had a chance to talk about it, you know. So bravo.
I'd like to ask the choreographers from the first act, what do you think of your process for your pieces and the feel of your dances in that act? I'm interested in the sense of the first act too.
Well, for my piece, I started choreographing this for my choreography class last spring. So this choreography, I mean, some of it is a year old. So I started out choreographing it without the intent of auditioning it for a main stage concert. So when that started to be my intent, I was choosing a different dancer to put it on because I choreographed it on myself, and I was choosing music, and it was just a really interesting process to choreograph a whole solo on myself and then change it to fit a new dancer and how she interpreted the movement for herself.
My trick was trying to get the dancers that I had to match the intensity from the music and make sure that that music matched the intensity that I knew was going to be in the second act.
It's just really hard, like, especially like even though like it's like the same music and it's off of the CD, like things still change, or like you can hear a different cue in the music, or like a dancer will do something and you'll like that. So things are always constantly changing, even though there's not like a live band or like live artwork working with you.
You know, we're very unique in the fact that we have a campus in Cape Girardeau, Missouri that has the arts all centralized in one place. And this is the beginning of something that could be really special and spectacular. The only thing separating most of us is a wall. It's not miles, it's not blocks, it's a wall.